And would you believe it? We're on the air again. This is Rachel Love. Hello, everybody, with Skywatcher Awaken Radio. And, I don't do a lot of shows anymore, but when there's somebody special out there, I want to do a show. I want to make sure that you get to visit with this guest also, like I did. I mean, really, really impressed. By the way, you're probably wondering who I'm talking about. Talking about Janet Richmond. Hi, Janet.
Hey, Rachel.
How are you?
I'm good. I'm so happy to be here. How are you?
Oh, I'm good. Janet and I were just visiting about some of the fun things we got to do in the past and some of the things we're doing right now. And I'm just in a really great space right now. And that's even despite the fact that I fought traffic to get across town to make sure I was here in time. Man, let's tell you, all the people driving those cars. Janet Richmond, she has a book come out called, what's it called? I have here somebody.
Soul psychology?
Yes, Our Journey Through the Human Kingdom Universe.
Yes, that's correct. Yeah.
Let's talk about that book, but before we do the book, we always have to do the little preamble. And it's basically, how do you get here? So I've read a little bit about you, and I'll share real quick so we don't have to do a lot of painful stuff. But basically, at a very early age, you're involved in a car accident, and you lost your parents, was adopted, and raised by a good family, and you're thankful for that. But you always were kind of shy and hesitant about getting seen until about 30s when you ran into a psychic by the name of Joan Culpepper.
Yes, yes.
And this episode, this psychic helped you find yourself?
Oh, yes, and more.
Well,
she opened up my world.
Yeah, what did she do? What did you discover that time?
Well, I just started out, I think it was my very first, maybe my second psychic reading. I didn't know what to expect. And she brought in higher self information. And it was like no psychic reading you'd ever really heard of or seen before or experienced, because the higher selves gave some incredibly deep information about who I was at the soul level. And I'd had chronic anxiety my whole life, all the time, all day long, no reason most of the time. And they explained to me what it was and how to get rid of it. And so I was a newbie. I just sort of went, okay, I'll give it a try. And I did. And within about 4 or 5 days, what I'd had for 3+ decades was gone.
Wow.
Yeah. Doesn't mean that the anxiety didn't come back when there was a real reason, But it wasn't that chronic all day long, every day, in the gut, in the pit of my stomach. And so I paid attention and took classes from her. The higher selves would lead the classes, and I learned so many things, from healing to just information about the universe, working with those on the other side. It was a very expanded experience. She moved away from the California area where I am, I think after about 4 years. And it forced all of us, myself included, to work on it on my own and not wait to get the information from her, but to develop my own channel or my own abilities, and to, become more of who I am and use the techniques. There were so many, well, not so many, but some simple, very basic techniques that we all can do. We don't have to be anybody special. It's our right. It's not a privilege. And so I became very adept at using these techniques on myself and did 180-degree changes.
Well, let me see if I get the premise right. This experience, I should put my hands up there. I don't have nail polish on. This experience at 30 helped you understand something about who you are, and this started making an impact. She taught you for a while, but she had to move off, and then you become basically your own adult in it. You went from a student to teacher, which is great. I love that. But this is what I got from all that, from what I read about you, and I want to know if this was a result of that. Quoting you, you said, "We come into each and every life carrying all the experiences that we have come before, making every soul complex and unique, proverbial snowflakes, as no soul has experienced the same situation and conditions as any other." So this concept you have about we bring our experiences from other soul lives into this world, this came from that experience at 30 with this woman, Joan Culpepper?
Well, over the time with her, the higher selves, because she worked with the higher selves, came in and explained it in different ways. And since then, I've built on it. And that's what this book is based on. They explained how we each life we come in, we have a mind. They call it the mind. You know, it's not the term that's important, but the mind of each life, and we go through from newborn all the way through. We learn, we grow, we experience, and we think, we do, we feel everything, and all of those experiences, when we lay aside the body, becomes part of the soul. And so they would define the soul as the conglomerate of the minds of the past. Wow. So the soul is carrying the totality of our journey. And it's at the soul level that we actually have free will, where we make decisions about our journey. What are we going to do in our next reincarnation? What's our focus going to be? Are we there to learn something? Are we there to grow? Are we there to bring in balance? Are we there to help others? What is the mind of the next life going to be doing and learning? And the soul chooses various things, situations and conditions, does co-creations with other souls, bring it into a life where, because we're deaf, dumb, and blind when we're born, we don't know what we had planned, but it is our plan for ourselves. Nobody else planned it for us.
I like that. You're saying we're responsible.
Yes.
Oh,
we are responsible. And how does, we come in, we don't know. We don't know what we planned, but what we do is we set up situations and conditions in the next life. We don't realize we've set it up, but that's how it works, to bring us into a state of awareness, to motivate us to get help or find the balance or whatever it is that our plan was. So
even a tragedy or something, which is a tragedy, is part of the plan.
Yes.
I know so many people get trapped on the tragedy part. The tragedy happens, and then they're just like immobile. That's it. My life's over. I've stopped.
Here's the deal. Yeah. If we have things to do and to learn, which we all do, they're, without exception, if we have things to do and to learn, if we come in and our lives are perfect and we have fabulous parents and a fabulous growing up, the fact of the matter is we can't even be aware that we need to heal something. So we will choose to be in perhaps a dysfunctional family, or we choose various ways to trigger the pattern that we want to heal. Trigger the motivation. We become aware and we don't want it there. We're unhappy. And that's where tragedy comes in. It's in a way, the soul usually talks to us with often, it's hard, you can't make a generalization across the board, but often it will give us opportunities along the way, and then the tragedy comes in if we haven't paid attention to the earlier opportunities. It's like a pull-through. It's like saying, you got to pay attention here.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
I love that, and I hate that, because I've had some tragedies too, and we all usually do, and that is what woke me up. And I kind of wish I paid more attention earlier, but it is what it is, right? I thought it was also kind of cool. The universe made some weird sound when you first started, so it's like they were going, yes.
Well, here's the thing. You may have, in some arenas, you may have been woken up by a tragedy, but think of the things that you didn't need that tragedy.
Yeah.
Because there are things that you didn't need. It's not usually all or nothing for us. We have different, and it's complex. It's so complex because if you think about it, just think about this life, how you grew up, all your experiences, your feelings, your belief systems.
Yes.
But at the soul level, we're carrying all of those from every life. And so we've all been in lives in different parts of the planet, different belief systems, different levels of culture and society, different planets. And so all of that mishigas is in there, so much stuff, and a lot of it is conflicted. We may have been in many lives where, because it's literally hundreds and thousands of lives. We've been eons of lives, not just a handful, but we've been in many lives. Oops.
Very good.
Sorry about that. We've been in many lives where we believed in multiple gods, for example.
Yeah.
There have been many lives where we believed in one God, or punishing gods, or a gentle God. We've had so many different belief systems that they're all in there. So we come into each new life, it's more and more complex. How do I get back to you? Sorry. Oh, there you are.
Yeah, it just jumped around there. But we didn't lose you. That's the most important thing. I think the universe is just going, yes, yes. They're making sure we heard that something's going on. I do know, I've read some articles and stuff that our DNA, physical DNA, is impacted by our environment, things that happen to us, our experiences, that we change just the physical body, and the physical body has been changing. I don't doubt at all in my heart that our soul has been impacted by all those different experiences. I know that doing some past life regressions and things, I've seen some things, and it kind of made sense why I do what I do now, because I felt comfortable then. So I'm probably trying to reinvent my nest again and go back to that place where I felt comfortable at a soul level without even realizing it. You know, I just kind of put it up there. Or I'm creating a situation which I keep going back to, for there's a lesson I need to learn. So no matter where you go, and I can tell you, you can go all the country, you run in the same group, it's like the same stage is back on again. Oh my God. Same people, even though they're 1,000 miles away from the other people, they're all doing the same role again. So it's like, I've been on this stage before. And so I agree with you. I think this is really exciting. But tell me a little bit before we get back to your book and how we can buy your book. You're doing soul scans. What's this
Yes.
about soul scans?
When I work with someone as a healer, either individuals, I can do groups. I do healings on my radio show every week. People write in and request, and it's free. I don't charge. Or I do group healing. I've healed the planet. I've done a lot of different types of healing.
Yes,
And I call it a soul scan because I'm not just focusing on one event or one feeling or one issue or even one life. The higher selves show me the pattern that a soul has brought in over time that is affecting them here in this life. What are the belief systems? What are the soul scrambles? It's a term the higher selves use, is soul scrambles. Because as we've gone through these long journeys, we pick up so many misunderstandings and limited truths and false beliefs, and we're very wounded, and we've suffered a lot, and we make decisions, we get self-identities and things that affect us now, but because we walk around in our day, we don't think about the soul, but in fact, it is one of our partners. We have the mind and all that we think and we experience and all of that, but the soul is working as a partner, but it's like we're working with one hand behind the back, each part of ourselves, because we're not really attuned to the soul. So what the higher selves have done is they've brought me to a type of healing where I call someone in or a group of people in, and I'm doing a soul scan. I'm looking at the whole pattern and what it entails. What are the belief systems that have been developed over the years? Where are the hurts or the wounds? What are the self-identities? Where are the blocks? Where's the resistance? Where is what is causing us to be stuck in this life, or keeping us unhappy, or keeping us dysfunctional, or whatever it may be? And it's just unlimited because they can address anything. And that's what they call it, a soul scan. So sometimes a past life will come up. More often, it'll be a type of past life. A type of past life where we keep repeating a certain type. Details are different, locations are different, but the same pattern of, say, rejection or shame, or
I think I know that pattern.
we all have a little bit of everything.
Yeah, I think I know pattern.
Snowflakes. There's enough commonality for
It's
all.
interesting that you describe a pattern, because I know, like myself, we do some artwork and some creative work, and patterns and symbols and colors and all represent so much, and same time bringing healing or not. Could you share just a moment or two about this art you're doing? You're calling it catalytic art?
Yes, it's also it was a type of art that the higher selves gave to me. I came in, part of what I'm doing is doing healing through artwork. And they gave me a technique. It's an unconscious technique where it can be for anything. So let's say you want more self-confidence. Maybe you want to find a nice place to live. Maybe you want a job. Maybe you want a boyfriend or girlfriend. Maybe you want to get over your shyness. It doesn't matter what the topic is. I would take a piece of paper. I would infuse what it is you want. So I don't put in shyness, I don't put in the negative pattern. I would infuse, using their technique, I would infuse into the paper whatever is what they want. Let's say good self-esteem or more confidence, or either there can be more than one concept too in the picture.
Yeah.
I've learned from experience it's better not to do more than 3, otherwise the picture can get pretty muddy. Then they gave me the technique of applying the artwork to the paper. It's also an unconscious technique where you use both hands and your eyes are closed a good portion of it, because they want all the colors picked with your eyes closed, because in the mind's eye, we can judge, oh, I don't really want that color. I don't like it so much, or it won't go with this color scheme.
I know people that are into that. He says, they tell me, you need a color wheel. Those colors don't go.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I do the color I'm told to use.
So, it enables you to, and I use both hands because there's no judgment. If you're right handed and use your left hand, you can't judge how you're doing it, because of course you can't really do it. So it takes you sort of out of judgment and allows you to move with the divine energies that are guiding you from this unconscious place. It's very quick. It doesn't take me long to do a picture. I like to be distracted to keep my mind's judgments out of it.
Yeah.
And then what the color does is it works with the energy that is infused to recreate the pattern that you want recreated. And it's a slow energy. It takes, it's not instantaneous or anything, but it works for your whole life. So, for example, like many years ago, I did a picture for someone who was living in a room and she wanted her own apartment. So she asked me to do her own apartment, and she found a perfect place that she could afford. But that picture kept working. Every time she moved, she went up. She always found the perfect place. And now, then she eventually moved into her home, and, it works forever. So
I love that. Of course, I'm doing something similar. It just kind of came to me a while back. My cosmic self talked to me one day and said, do that. Oh, well, that seemed, I didn't. Anyway, it's working. That's exciting to find out somebody else doing that. That's so cool. So let's, before we talk about your book, because we're running out of time, I keep these kind of short. What's your website for finding your paintings, your catalytic art?
That you can find on higherselfvoice.com, higherselfvoice.com, or janetrichmond.com. Both get you there.
Janetrichmond.com. And the same thing for soul scans?
Yeah, they can find out, about my private sessions and my meetup groups, my radio show. They can find all the archives there. But I have set up a splash page specifically for this book.
Really? Splash page, yeah. Let's talk about the book. It's time to talk about the book.
It's called Soul Psychology, the book.com. Okay?
Soulpsychologythebook.com. So this book, did it come out? I knew you were talking about coming out. Is it ready? Is it there?
On the verge. Literally, I'm getting my proof copy tomorrow. If everything looks good, which I expect it will, once it's approved, it'll go. I'm doing it through Amazon. Create Space, which is the Amazon online arm. And I don't know yet how much it's going to cost. They won't tell us until the book is approved. But if you go on to soulpsychologythebook.com, you will be able to sign up. And the minute it's launched, you will get the information of, do you want an ebook? Do you want Kindle? Do you want the print book? How much they'll cost? Where to go? I will be selling some of it. Can't do Kindle on my website, but I do the print book or the PDF, the ebook, or you can do it through Amazon. A lot of people are Amazon Prime or whatever, and they just
put it on a link.
And that's fine either way. But I will, if somebody signs up, it should be out very soon. I just don't know once I approve it what the process is. Does it get launched that day? I don't know.
Well, I've done some ebooks and stuff, and done it myself, self-published, help other people, and usually it's pretty quick. Maybe 24 hours once it gets clicked in. So why would I guess I have to play the devil's advocate here. I don't even believe in the devil. Why would I buy your book? What's your book doing for me? Sorry about that.
Well, I'll tell you that the book is fascinating. It deals with the journey of a human soul, in body and in heaven, how we develop the patterns and the issues and the discomforts that we have, why, and how to resolve them. It gives you the actual techniques, and it makes sense of your world. It makes sense of the universe. It is practical. It's easy to digest. It's got meat in it, so it's, I think, 400 pages or something. But I write it in a way that's, I'm talking to you across the table, and there's a lot of examples in there. And it explains, we hear the word soul all the time. It explains exactly how it works, how we're partners, and it is also gives you just a ton of hope, because there's very real practical help in the book.
I gotta get that. But the soul thing, I don't really like age. It's one of those kind of things I can't help. And I've already had a Palmer come on and says, like, I've been around 27 times. And then I've had some people say, well, you're an old soul. I don't think that's really a bad thing when it comes to souls, being an old soul. But it still makes me nervous. You think I'm an old soul or younger soul? Do you have baby souls in your book?
I have to say right off the bat, there are no young souls on this planet right now.
Okay, well,
because this planet is carrying a very high frequency. You see if you just look 150 or 300 years ago and past, the Middle Ages, the Dark Ages, most of the time humanities have been on this planet have been very low concepts. Psychology wasn't even part of the general, knowledge until maybe 50 years ago, and it only started 150 years ago. So the souls that are present here are, for the most part, whether we look at the cover and think, boy, they must not have been around long. There's no young souls here on the planet. You're a very old soul. There's a lot of very, very evolved people, and I personally don't like, or I don't really want to get into that old soul, young soul, the hierarchy, or somebody's more special than someone else.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Every soul can be educated. Every soul is as important as every other.
It is, but I'm going to take out of this conversation that at least if I'm hanging with older souls, I feel young by default. That's what I do. I usually try to date people older than I am, so I feel younger.
Right now, it's sort of between, have you been around 500 or 600,000 lives, or 499,000 lives?
Yeah, well, I'm going to take it wherever I can find it.
and you'll never know. That's the thing. It's not something we're going to know.
We got to shut down this show. I've had a really good time, and I like teasing with it a little bit. Janet Richmond.
Okay, that's okay. I've totally enjoyed it, Rachel. I hope to do it with you another time.
Well, let's do it again. It's
I don't know you have to do that, but
yeah.
A pleasure.
Your website one more time, in case nobody paid attention all the way to the very end.
JanetRichmond.com or higherselfvoice.com, and Soul Psychology, the book.
And then we say thank you, everybody, for watching and listening. Rachel Love, and namaste.